In the emerald shadows of the deepest canopy, where the light is filtered through 1,000 layers of leaves, a single golden eye snaps open. It is a disk of molten amber, flecked with obsidian, peering through a dense curtain of ferns. This is the first and often the only sign that you're being watched. When this eye opens, the usual cacophony of the rainforest, the raucous squawks of macaws, the frantic chatter of capuchin monkeys, and the rhythmic buzzing hum of cicadas, suddenly dies. A suffocating silence descends over the brush, a heavy veil of stillness that signals the presence of a master. This is the ghost of the jungle, the silent Goliath. The jaguar does not merely walk through the forest, it owns the space between the ancient trees. It is a predator of such immense power and fluid grace that it has become a living myth, a shadow that governs the largest and most complex rainforest on the face of the earth. The Amazon is far more than just a collection of trees. It is a colossal biological machine, a sprawling, breathing organism that pulses with a life force so great it dictates the climate of our entire planet. Spanning over 2 million square miles across 9 South American nations, it is a green labyrinth where every waxy leaf and every humid drop of water plays a vital role in the survival of our species. This is the heart of the world, a massive lung that inhales the world's carbon and exhales the very oxygen we need to stay alive. To stand in the center of this wilderness is to realize how small and fragile our human structures truly are. It is a place where the scale of nature defies the logic of human comprehension. Thousands of winding rivers weave through the landscape like shimmering silver veins, carrying the lifeblood of the continent toward the distant Atlantic Ocean, fueling a system that has thrived for millions of years. Despite our advanced satellites, our high-altitude drones, and our relentless modern desire to map every square inch of the globe, the Amazon remains one of the last great mysteries of our age. Large portions of this emerald expanse remain virtually unexplored, shielded by a canopy so thick and impenetrable that falling rain can take 10 full minutes to reach the dark forest floor. There are uncontacted zones here, vast, untamed stretches of wilderness where no modern human has ever set foot, where ancient tribes live as they have for millennia, and where species entirely unknown to modern science wait in the shadows to be discovered. What else is hiding in these deep, dark corridors? Are there creatures we haven't even dreamed of yet? Or perhaps ancient lost civilizations long ago reclaimed by the creeping vines and heavy moss? The sheer magnitude of the unknown is what draws us deeper into the heart of the green. The complexity of this ecosystem is truly staggering. It is a world of vertical stratification, where life at the top of a towering kapok tree is entirely different from the life thriving in the nutrient-rich mud of the forest floor. Here, evolution has been working in isolation for countless millions of years to create a perfect, yet incredibly fragile balance. Every apex predator and every tiny prey animal is a vital part of a grand, intricate design, a dance of survival that plays out every single hour of the day. The jaguar sits at the very pinnacle of this hierarchy, a spiritual guardian of the balance, ensuring that the cycle of life continues uninterrupted through the seasons. But even the king of the jungle is part of a much larger story, one that involves the rising waters, the shifting winds, and the very ground beneath its heavy, padded paws. We are about to embark on a cinematic journey that takes us from the sun-drenched heights of the canopy to the murky, dangerous depths of the Blackwater rivers. We will witness the struggle for existence in its most raw and beautiful form, uncovering the secrets of a world that is as dangerous as it is breathtakingly beautiful. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Your presence here is part of the global connection that keeps the story of the rainforest alive and relevant. As we push further into the thickets and follow the invisible tracks of the ghost of the jungle, we must remember that we are merely guests in a realm that does not easily yield its ancient secrets. The beauty of the Amazon is often a mask for its hidden ferocity, a vibrant tapestry woven with the threads of life and death. But the most dangerous thing in this jungle isn't what has claws or teeth that can crush bone in a single bite. It's what we can't see until it's too late. To understand the heartbeat of the modern Amazon, we must peel back the layers of time into the geological history of the continent. Millions of years ago, the landscape we recognize today was different. In a period of violent tectonic upheaval, the massive plates of the Earth's crust collided with force, thrusting the Andes Mountains toward the clouds. Before this monumental shift, the Proto-Amazon River actually flowed westward, emptying its waters into the Pacific Ocean. However, as the mountains rose like a wall of stone along the western coast, the entire drainage system of the continent was blocked. The water was trapped, forming a massive inland sea that eventually carved a new path across the continent, redirecting the flow eastward toward the Atlantic. This geological rebirth created the vast, low-lying basin that allowed the rainforest to flourish, transforming a seismic event into the cradle of the most biodiverse ecosystem on the planet. The lifeblood of this basin is not just found in the mud and silt of the riverbed, but also high above in the humid air. This is the flying rivers. Every day, billions of trees perform a silent, invisible miracle called transpiration. A tree can pump over 1,000 liters of water into the atmosphere every 24 hours. Multiply this by hundreds of billions of trees, and you have a massive aerial river of vapor that rivals the volume of the Amazon River itself. These invisible currents of moisture travel across the continent, carried by the winds to provide rain for distant agricultural lands and cities. Without the forest, the heart of South America would wither into a dust bowl. This cycle of breath and rain creates a rhythmic pulse, a seasonal heartbeat that dictates every aspect of life in the jungle. As the cycle of the flying rivers intensifies, the Amazon undergoes a dramatic transformation. The dry season, where the forest floor is a carpet of soil, gives way to the arrival of the great rains. This is the birth of the vazia, or the flooded forest. In weeks, the water level in the main river channels begins to swell with power, rising above its previous mark. The world is literally turned upside down. The forest floor vanishes beneath an expanse of nutrient-rich water, and the structure of the ecosystem shifts from terrestrial to aquatic. For nearly 6 months of every year, the Amazon becomes a drowned kingdom, a labyrinth of submerged trunks and floating debris where the boundaries between earth and water are erased. It is a spectacle of nature that exists nowhere else on this scale. The visual contrast of this transformation is staggering. Animals that spent the previous months prowling the undergrowth become expert climbers or aquatic survivors. The jaguar adapts with ease, its powerful limbs carrying it across flooded channels as it searches for dry islands or unsuspecting prey trapped in the canopy. Monkeys and sloths retreat higher into the heights, watching as the murky water swallows the roots of their homes. Even the insects must find refuge in the upper branches, creating a crowded vertical migration where competition for space and food becomes a struggle. It is a world where a wrong step no longer means a fall to the dirt, but a plunge into a dark, watery abyss where new dangers lurk beneath the surface. The forest becomes a giant sponge, absorbing the fury of the rains. Perhaps the most incredible feat is performed by the trees themselves. While most plants would drown if their roots were submerged for even a few days, the species of the vazia have evolved specialized adaptations to survive being underwater for half the year. Some trees enter a state of dormancy, slowing their metabolism to a crawl as they wait for the flood to recede. Others have developed specialized root systems that can extract oxygen from the water or the air. These giants stand like monuments, their lower limbs draped in silt and river moss, providing the backbone for a world that refuses to die even when completely engulfed. This seasonal pulse is the engine of the Amazon's fertility, depositing fresh layers of sediment that nourish the soil. In this flooded world, a new set of rules applies, and the rulers of the river are waiting right now. The transition from the solid ground of the dry forest to the dark, opaque waters of the flooded Varzea creates a new arena of survival where the rules are written in blood and shadow. Deep beneath the roots of the submerged trees, the black caiman waits, a prehistoric survivor that has patrolled these basins for millions of years. Growing up to 6 meters in length, it is the largest predator in the Amazon basin, a dark-scaled leviathan that represents the ultimate mastery of the aquatic realm. With a bite force capable of crushing the thickest shells, the caiman is not merely a resident of the river. It is its ancient, undisputed authority. Its presence is felt even when unseen, a silent weight beneath the murky surface that keeps the entire ecosystem in a state of watchful tension every day. However, the water is not owned by the black caiman alone. A surprising challenger emerges from the reeds, one that defies its seemingly charismatic appearance. The giant otter, known as the river wolf, is a creature of immense social complexity and ferocity. While they might look adorable, these 2-meter-long mammals are the most coordinated hunters in the Amazon. Operating in tight-knit family packs, they utilize advanced group tactics to overwhelm prey that far exceeds their individual size. Even the mighty black caiman is not safe from a determined pack of these predators. They are known to harass and eventually kill caimans that invade their territory, proving that in this liquid world, social structure and intelligence are often more potent than brute strength. The presence of the giant otter is a reminder that the Amazon rewards those who work together to protect their wild and ancient home. Beneath the ripples where the otters play, another legend lurks, one that is perhaps the most misunderstood creature in the entire jungle. The piranha has been portrayed as a mindless eating machine, capable of stripping an animal to the bone in seconds. While their teeth are razor-sharp, the reality is far more nuanced. Piranhas are the jungle's cleanup crew, performing an indispensable service to the ecosystem. They are primarily scavengers, clearing the river of carcasses and diseased animals, which prevents the spread of infection through the waterways. They are opportunistic rather than aggressive toward humans, and their role is vital in maintaining the health and balance of the aquatic environment. Without these silver-scaled sentinels, the rivers would become choked with decay. They are the silent janitors of the Amazon, ensuring that the cycle of life and death remains rapid and productive for all the life here today. In the silt-heavy tea-colored waters where sunlight barely penetrates, another master of evolution has developed a way to see without using its eyes. The electric eel is not actually an eel at all, but a specialized knife fish that has mastered the art of bioelectricity. Capable of generating a sudden discharge of up to 600 volts, it uses these pulses for both defense and hunting. In the murky depths, it emits low-level electrical fields to navigate the underwater labyrinth, acting like a biological radar system that detects the movement of every living thing in its vicinity. This incredible adaptation allows the eel to thrive in environments where other predators would be blind and helpless. It is a testament to the sheer ingenuity of life in the Amazon basin, where every creature has found a unique way to harness the natural elements in order to successfully survive here. The rivers of the Amazon are pulsing arteries of life, filled with prehistoric survivors and specialized hunters that have perfected their craft over eons. From the crushing jaws of the caiman to the electric hum of the knife fish, the water is a theater of constant movement and hidden danger. Every ripple on the surface tells a story of pursuit and evasion, of the delicate balance between the hunter and the hunted. Yet, as we look deeper into the shadows of the riverbanks, we realize that the water is only one part of the grand design. You might think the water is the most dangerous place to be found, but look up toward the green leaves. The sky is watching, and the shadows moving among the branches are just as lethal as the predators lurking deep. While the water holds its own terrors, the true architectural marvel of the Amazon lies overhead in a vertical kingdom that stretches hundreds of feet into the air. If you lift your gaze from the murky Varzea, you enter the realm of the harpy eagle, the undisputed apex of the sky. It is a prehistoric-looking titan of the air, possessed of a regal and terrifying presence. With a wingspan that can reach 7 feet and a crest of feathers that rises like a crown, the harpy eagle is the phantom that haunts the upper reaches of the canopy. Its most formidable weapons are its talons, curved daggers of bone that are larger and more powerful than the claws of a grizzly bear. These are tools designed for a singular purpose: to snatch life from the branches with a grip strength that can crush the skull of a primate. Watching a harpy eagle hunt is a lesson in lethal grace. Despite its massive size, it moves through the dense, tangled labyrinth of the canopy with the agility of a much smaller hawk. Instead of soaring in wide circles, it sits in motionless silence, its keen eyes scanning for the slightest rustle of a leaf. When it strikes, it becomes a blur of gray and white, weaving through a chaotic maze of vines and trunks at high speeds. Its target might be a howler monkey or a sloth, creatures that believe their height offers sanctuary. In a sudden explosion of feathers, the harpy closes the distance, extending its massive legs to snatch the prey directly from the wood. It is a vertical ambush, a reminder that in the Amazon, safety is an illusion that can be shattered from above. This aerial battlefield is part of a complex system of vertical stratification, where the rainforest is divided into distinct layers, each hosting its own unique ecosystem. The emergent layer is a world of extreme wind and heat, where the tallest giants break the forest ceiling. Below, the canopy forms a thick carpet of life that intercepts most sunlight and rain. Here, 90% of species reside, many never touching the ground. Below that lies the understory, a dim world of giant leaves and filtered light. This layering allows the Amazon to pack incredible biodiversity into a single area, creating multiple worlds stacked atop one another, each with its own residents and hidden dangers. Amidst this survival, the Amazon offers moments of breathtaking beauty. Along the exposed banks of the river, the emerald green is suddenly broken by a riot of color. Thousands of scarlet and cobalt macaws descend upon the clay licks in a swirling cloud of noise. This is a vital survival strategy. The clay contains minerals that neutralize toxins found in the unripe fruits and seeds they consume. It is a rare moment of vulnerability, where the sky meets the earth in a display of color, as these birds gather in numbers to protect themselves through their collective presence. If we look closer, we find an even more bizarre world on a miniature scale. On the trunks of the trees, the bullet ant patrols its territory, possessing the most painful sting in the insect kingdom, often compared to being shot. This ant shows that power is not always measured by size. But even this warrior is not immune to the horrors of the jungle. The cordyceps fungus stalks the insect world with terrifying efficiency. It infiltrates the bodies of ants, hijacking their nervous systems and turning them into zombies. The fungus compels the host to climb high before sprouting from its head to rain spores on the colony below. This hidden micro-world operates with mechanical precision, showing that the struggle for dominance reaches down to the very cells of the forest's inhabitants. Every layer of the Amazon, from the soaring harpy eagle to the parasitic fungus, is interconnected in an ancient dance. The balance here is perfect, a masterpiece of evolution where every predator has its place. But as we stand in the shadows of these green cathedrals, we can feel a shift. This balance, perfected over millions of years, is starting to shatter. Stay with us, because the next chapter reveals the struggle for survival as the king of the forest faces a challenge that even its strength cannot overcome. As the shadows lengthen across the forest floor, a silence more profound than the simple absence of sound settles over the dense undergrowth. This is the hour of the true sovereign, the undisputed ruler of the land and water alike. While the harpy eagle governs the sky and the black caiman patrols the murky depths, one creature bridges every domain of the Amazon: the jaguar. Known scientifically as Panthera onca, it is the largest cat in the Americas and the third largest on the planet. But these statistics fail to capture the commanding presence of the animal. It is a ghost made of coiled muscle and golden fur, a shadow that walks with the weight of the jungle's entire history behind its amber eyes. What truly sets the jaguar apart from its feline cousins is its specialized evolution for the dense, humid labyrinth of the Amazon basin. It possesses the strongest bite force of all big cats relative to its body size. Its jaws are not merely tools for suffocating prey. They are bone-crushing instruments of precision, capable of piercing the thick skulls of mammals or the heavily armored shells of river turtles and caimans with a single, decisive crunch. The jaguar's tactical brilliance is most evident where other cats usually fear to tread: the edges of the riverbank. Unlike most felines that avoid getting wet, the jaguar is a master of the water, a powerful swimmer that views the river not as an obstacle, but as a primary hunting ground. Here, it engages in one of the most spectacular displays of predatory skill found anywhere in the natural world. It will slip into the silt-heavy water with barely a ripple, its golden spotted coat covered in unique rosettes that act as fingerprints of the forest, camouflaging perfectly against the dappled light reflecting off the moving surface. Its target is often the black caiman, a prehistoric reptile that is an apex predator in its own right. In a daring reversal of the natural order, the jaguar becomes the aquatic hunter, launching a precision strike from the water itself. With an explosive burst of raw power, it lunges at the caiman, targeting the base of the skull. This is not a desperate struggle. It is a calculated execution, a testament to the jaguar's role as the silent Goliath who maintains the balance of the entire basin. For the indigenous tribes who have shared this emerald world for millennia, the jaguar is far more than a biological specimen. It is a spiritual pillar, a creature that transcends the physical realm. In many ancestral traditions, the jaguar is viewed as a protector of the forest, a shapeshifter capable of moving between the world of the living and the world of spirits. Shamans often look to the cat as a source of strength, believing that its stealth is a gift from the earth. It is respected as a guardian of the uncontacted zones, its presence a sign that the forest is still wild and whole. To see a jaguar is considered a profound spiritual event, a message from the heart of the Amazon itself. This cultural reverence highlights the deep interconnectedness between the human inhabitants and the apex predators. Imagine the scene as the humidity clings to the air like a wet shroud. A capybara stands at the water's edge, unaware that the atmosphere has shifted. The jaguar is 40 feet away, invisible within the ferns. Its movement is a masterpiece of slow-motion tension. Each heavy paw is placed with agonizing care, testing the ground for dry twigs that might betray its position. Its eyes, burning with a focused intensity, never leave the target. The cat's muscles coil like steel springs under high tension, its belly pressing low to the earth. Then, the moment of impact arrives. It is not a chase. It is a violent collision. In a blur of tawny fur and sheer kinetic energy, the jaguar covers the distance in seconds. The force of the strike is massive, a final testament to millions of years of evolution. Yet, for all its power, the jaguar lives on a knife's edge. In the Amazon, even an apex predator is always just one injury away from starvation. A broken tooth can turn this king into a scavenger. The jaguar may be the king, but it is powerless against the invisible force moving across the horizon. The golden eyes of the jaguar reflect a world that is shrinking, a kingdom where the borders are being redrawn not by nature, but by the relentless advancement of steel and fire. For millions of years, the Amazon has been a self-sustaining fortress, a biological engine so powerful it dictated the climate of an entire hemisphere. But today, that fortress is under siege by an invisible force that moves with a mechanical indifference. This is the tipping point, a threshold described by scientists as the moment when the rainforest can no longer produce enough rain to sustain itself. If the canopy thins too much, the very moisture that defines this world evaporates into a dry, harsh haze. The lush, emerald labyrinth risks transforming into a dry savanna, a skeletal version of its former glory known as the Cerrado. This is not a slow evolution. It is a violent collapse, and the signs are already etched into the drying riverbeds and the thinning tree line. The natural symphony of the Amazon, the rhythmic calls of the howler monkeys, the chirping of insects, and the rustling of palms, is increasingly being pierced by a sound that does not belong in this ancient world. It is the high-pitched metallic scream of the chainsaw. This sound represents the sharp edge of industrial exploitation, a jarring intrusion that signals the death of centuries-old giants. When one of these massive trees falls, it isn't just a single plant that dies. It is an entire vertical city. Thousands of bromeliads, orchids and rare insects that lived their entire lives 100 feet above the ground are crushed in seconds. This destruction is driven by the hunger for land, for illegal logging, and for the scars left by mining operations that bleed mercury into the pristine rivers. The scale of the loss is staggering, and it is a loss that humanity may never truly quantify. For every acre of forest that vanishes, we lose potential secrets that have been locked away for eons. Within these leaves and roots are the chemical blueprints for cures we haven't even discovered yet. The Amazon is nature's most sophisticated laboratory, and we are burning the books before we can read them. Species that have never been named, creatures that exist only in a single square mile of forest, are being erased from the tree of life. This loss of biodiversity is a silent tragedy that echoes far beyond the borders of South America. It is a theft from future generations, a dismantling of a biological library that took millions of years to write and only decades to incinerate. The jaguar, once the spiritual protector of this domain, now stalks through a graveyard of scorched earth, its camouflage useless against the gray ash of a dying ecosystem. The front lines of this battle are held by the indigenous tribes, the ancestral protectors who have lived in harmony with the jaguar for thousands of years. These communities are the literal guardians of the uncontacted zones, standing as the final barrier between the ancient world and the machinery of modern greed. They fight a desperate struggle to protect their lands against massive corporate interests, often at the cost of their lives. For them, the forest is not a resource to be extracted. It is a relative, a sacred space that provides life, spirituality, and identity. When the forest bleeds, they bleed. Their struggle is a testament to the human spirit, but it is also a warning to the rest of the world that the wall protecting our global climate is beginning to crumble. This is not just a local crisis. The Amazon is the heart of a global weather machine. The flying rivers, those massive plumes of water vapor released by the trees, do not stay within the basin. They travel thousands of miles, providing rain for the cornfields of North America, the vineyards of Europe, and the rice paddies of Asia. If the heart stops pumping, the entire body of the planet feels the shock. Droughts in the Midwest, heat waves in Paris, and floods in Jakarta are all threads connected back to the green tapestry of the Amazon. The destruction of the rainforest is a slow-motion catastrophe that accelerates with every tree cleared. The air we breathe is thinner, the water we drink is scarcer, and the future we hope for is becoming more uncertain. The urgency is no longer a whisper, It is a roar that matches the fury of the fires clearing the brush. Time is the one thing the forest does not have. The mechanical rhythm of progress is outshining the heartbeat of the earth. We are standing at the edge of the abyss, watching as the walls of the green cathedral are torn down, brick by leaf, until only the dust of a forgotten empire remains. The Jaguar's kingdom is burning, and with it, the very breath of our world is being exhaled for the last time. Despite the scars left by the machinery of progress, the Amazon possesses a stubborn, primal will to survive. In the patches of land where the chainsaws have fallen silent and the heavy treads of tractors have moved on, a quiet miracle begins to unfold. Life does not wait for an invitation to return. Instead, it crawls back with a desperate, emerald ferocity. Pioneer species are the first to colonize the red, sun-baked earth. Beneath the surface, fungal networks that have survived the heat begin to reconnect, weaving a microscopic web that will eventually support the return of the giants. Within years, these abandoned clearings are shrouded in a thick, tangled veil of green. While it may take centuries for the full complexity of the primary forest to return, this resilience offers a glimmer of hope. It is a reminder that the earth is not a passive victim. It is a living entity capable of healing, provided we grant it the space and the time to breathe. Yet, the responsibility for this healing does not rest solely on the shoulders of the indigenous guardians or the scientists in the field. It reaches across oceans and continents, vibrating through the global economy and into our very hands. Every choice we make as consumers sends a ripple through the canopy. The demand for gold that fuels our electronics, the timber that builds our homes, and the land cleared for agriculture. All these threads lead back to the vanishing tree line. The distance between a supermarket shelf in London and the humid depths of the basin is shorter than we like to admit. To protect the jaguar is to re-evaluate our relationship with the world's resources. It requires us to move beyond the role of passive observers and become active participants in a global restoration. By supporting sustainable practices, we are effectively planting trees in the heart of South America from thousands of miles away. If we pause to listen, we realize that the Amazon is more than a distant wilderness. It is the biological heart of the earth. It is an organ that pumps life-giving moisture into the atmosphere, filtering our air and regulating the very temperature of our home. If the heart stops beating, the body of the planet begins to fail. We are currently witnessing the symptoms of this cardiac arrest in the form of erratic weather and collapsing ecosystems. To lose the Amazon is not merely a local tragedy. It is a fundamental loss of our identity as a living planet. It is a surrender of the wild, a dismissal of ancient wisdom that has governed life for eons. Without the roar of the jaguar, the earth becomes a quieter, lonelier, and far more fragile place. The question remains, if we lose the last great frontier, what will be left of us? Are we a species defined by what we extract, or by what we protect? The choice is ours, and the window of opportunity is narrowing with every sunset. This journey through the green labyrinth has revealed a world of unparalleled beauty and terrifying vulnerability. It is a world that demands our respect and immediate action. Supporting conservation is no longer an act of charity, it is an act of self-preservation. Share this story to ensure the scream of the chainsaw is drowned out by the voice of global concern. Subscribe to keep exploring the wonders of our world and to stay informed about the battle for our planet's future. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting a deep amber glow across the sea of leaves, the jungle begins its nocturnal shift. Beneath the vast sky, the Amazon remains the final frontier of mystery. The golden eyes of the jaguar once again open in the brush, watching and waiting. It is the spiritual protector of a realm that is both ancient and precarious. The flying rivers,
continue their invisible journey above the canopy, carrying the hopes of a continent on their vaporous wings. This is our legacy, the wild spaces we choose to defend.
The jungle is watching us, waiting to see if we listen to its heartbeat before the silence becomes permanent. Let us ensure that when the next dawn breaks over the Varzea, the ghost of the jungle still has a kingdom to call home, and that the heart of the earth continues to beat, strong and unbroken, for all generations to come.